Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today I have a great guest, Mr. Dave Farrell of Fansview and MMA In Depth. I am pleased to have Dave on today for our first series finale. It's been a great 8 episodes. Had a lot of fun doing this. Learned a lot about people who I thought I knew maybe a little bit about already. And I've really enjoyed speaking with everybody. So what we're going to do after this, be a short break, hopefully come back in early August with Series 2. I've already started working up the lineup. If you're interested in being on the podcast, shoot me a message, let me know. I'm still doing the booking. And before I forget, I'd like to give a shout out to Locomotiva BJJ. They have been kind enough to be my first sponsor and allow me to record in their gym. If you're in the area and you're looking for a new gym, place to just start out at, I highly recommend it. You have Edson Jr., who is the main instructor. He's a legit brown belt. And I can't recommend the place enough. Be sure to check it out. Also be sure to check out Wolverine Fightwear. Be sure to give each of us a follow on Instagram. I am at Michigan Mauler, at Locomotiva_Jiu-Jitsu, and Dave is at Fansview. Everything's linked below. So without any further waste of time, here we go. Let's get into it. Enjoy. All right, everyone, welcome back to the podcast here. I always hate how I say that. It just feels weird. Sorry, you can hear yourself?
Yeah,
right?
I can hear you. I can hear me.
All
Unfortunately,
right,
I can hear myself, yeah.
All right, so today I have my friend, Mr. Dave Farrell.
Farrell, yeah.
I always...
I don't know. America, I'm not Will Ferrell.
No, it's like, I know what it is in my head. And if you watch previous episodes, I always stumble on the surname every time. I don't know why. And I know what it is. I've said it before several times. And I just fuck it up. But
it happens to me, actually, believe it or not, when I was doing In Depth. And like that, the easiest names. And I'm like, right, I have to get it right for the intro. And then I know it. And then you just say it and it's wrong. I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
And then they're just looking at you like, you know my name. Like, yeah. So it's happened a few times to me, so don't worry about it.
I'm just going to own messing it up every time. So
it could be your thing.
Yeah.
Your unique selling point.
Dave Smythe? It's Smith. Yeah. Yeah. I would do that too. But, all right, everyone. Like I said, welcome back. We're all definitely familiar with Dave and his work, with Fansview and In Depth MMA, all of which I find to be, you know, it's really good. Your interviews in depth are exactly in the name. They're in depth. And Fansview is cool because it's so kind of off the cuff and like it's very informal. You know, and you guys are, you know, you're talking about, you know, things coming up, or, you know, recent fights and everything. And it's very cool to it's cool to understand or to know, like, or to see your passion in things, because you are really an encyclopedia for Irish MMA. You know, like, I have a hard enough time remembering my name sometimes. And, you know, here you, like, just before all this, you know, you're talking, you know, giving me, you know, specific details about, you know, fights and fighters. Like, how do you, so my first question is, how do you find the time to remember all of this?
It's hard. It's not hard. It depends. See, if I'm going to do an interview, and thank you for the compliments, by the way. If I'm going to do an interview with a fighter, I look at the previous fights on Tapology. I go look at the fights, and I think that helps ingrain as well. But like that, there is some things I forget. Or like you with the second names, I'm not sure. If you watch me on the Fansview one, I'd always say you're 5-2. Is that correct? Even though I know I've looked at it, I just don't want to make that mistake. And 9 times out of 10, I'm right. Sometimes Tapology as well.
topology isn't the most
for amateur
thing.
For amateur, definitely, because there could have been fights that were missed or fights that weren't counted as actual fights. There might have been no medics on the scene or something, you know, in the arena or something like that.
Not officially sanctioned or something.
Yeah, so stuff like that. But like that, it's just I'm so familiar, especially with the amateur scene. That I know people like. You could name a fighter. Well, don't name one now because I won't know. But like if I'm talking about fighting someone, I'll say, oh, they bet so and so, or you know, I'll be able to. I don't know why it just sticks in my mind. It's just because I actually love it so much. You know, that sort of a way.
Do you ever kind of find yourself in public and then you see someone who's like, I know him, like that's that's this fighter from so and so, or so and so's gym.
Yeah, where was I? I live in Newbridge, and Dylan Logan lives in Newbridge as well, and then I was just in the shop, and I know Dylan quite well. I wouldn't have met him in person much, but I talked to him a lot.
Yeah.
And then it was just like we were both in the shop, and I just looked up and I was like, "What's the crack? What's the crack?" And it has happened a bit outside, so only once or twice as it stands, but I'm sure it'll happen more and more.
Right on. So so I guess you're my first guest where you're not necessarily kind of like a combat athlete. Not saying that you haven't partaken before in like training or anything, but like you're not necessarily like you don't compete in MMA or jiu-jitsu or K1 or anything like that, but you're for all intents and purposes you're a commentator. You certainly watch fights, and I guess I wouldn't say you commentate on them, or I shouldn't say you commentate on them, but you certainly what am I trying to say? Like you are like I know you don't like saying this. Like you are like a social media influencer in like kind of the Irish MMA world. I don't care what you say. You definitely are. You get free stuff, so yeah, you're an influencer.
I don't like being called influencer because I don't think I am. I think what I done with Fansview especially is going about, I want to say September 2021, August 2021. I started my plan wasn't to do Irish MMA. I wanted to do just like a normal UFC page or whatever.
Okay.
But then I was like, man, there's so many people doing this. Like, what's the chances that? And actually, what benefits is there from it? You're posting the same stuff that everyone else is doing. So when Connor tweets, and so it just didn't interest me. I wanted to do it for a long time. I didn't. I didn't think people would listen to me. And then I kind of looked into like Irish MMA and said, there's a bit of a gap here. No one really covers it except for obviously Prospect MMA. He does a lot on the scene for the amateurs, whereas just Severe, who are very good, but they're more on the pro side. Late the past year or so, the likes of Andy Stevenson and all have branched into doing the L Triangle, which is excellent.
Yeah.
And they talk a lot about, they go through all the amateur shows. Like, there's nothing really happening here. So I think it was like the likes of Solomon Simon, Ger Jones from Galway. There was a couple, Sean O'Bannon, that I came across first. It was a lot of paddies because Cage Conflict had just happened. I believe it was the one that was outside.
Yeah.
And I just started looking, and from there, how I kind of got in there was like none of these guys had highlight videos. I was terrible at making these videos, but they were so glad that someone had made a little highlight video
or
of
something.
Yeah, so like I didn't start interviewing straight away. It was a couple of months after I kind of started. I was just making these little videos, just like doing little news updates, and I didn't really know how to approach it. I just knew I wanted to do it. And then like that, I think Taylor Quinn, our Rhino, he's currently in Canada, in Vancouver now. He was then my first interview. And then I think I didn't realise how Instagram Lives worked at the time. So when I went out of it, I discarded the media. And I was oh, here we go. And I thought it was gone. But you can actually get it back. But I didn't realise at the time you could get it back. So he kindly done another one with me and had the nearly same conversation again. But it's all a learning curve.
And well, in that respect, the very first episode I recorded here with Edson, I had forgotten to record or to charge my I had wireless lapel mics, and I'd forgotten to charge them the night before. And we got here in the morning, they were dead. So I had a shotgun mic that I hooked up to my camera there, and we just went on a normal conversation. I got home to try to edit things together, and it was terrible. The audio was garbage. Video looked great. We looked great.
Yeah.
And then like I had to make that call and be like, hey, I can't really do anything with this. Can we do it again? And then same thing, nearly the same conversation. And it sucks because like that first one is always so kind of off the cuff, and it's a lot more relaxed. And the second one, it's like you're trying to basically do that again, and it's tough.
Yeah, it is, because the first one would have been organic, and it would have just it would have just came off kind of what you were talking
a bit more
about.
Natural.
Yeah, one thing leads into another, then it was the same like with me and Taylor, and then you're trying to recreate that, but you're not always gonna, like, me and you can talk 10 times, but we're never gonna have the same conversation, same language, same body language, same words used. Just, it is what it is, unfortunately. But like, that's a learning curve, and that's gonna happen at different stages of you doing this and me doing what I do, and you just have to learn from it. That's all it is.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess what was the kind of the driving force to really get you to do these interviews? Did you have someone who was like, who kind of gave you that kind of that push, or was you were just kind of like, screw it, let's just do it?
I didn't want to do it for, I wanted to do it for years, but like for the past 10 years I've been partying. Like my body's about to break down now, I'd say. And I needed something to keep me occupied and keep me away from that, because like you've seen people before, like there's so many pitfalls that come with that sort of a lifestyle.
Yeah.
There's so many bad routes you can go down. And I was just like, you know what, I need like that, like I'm 36, like this would have been I would have been 34, 33, 34 maybe, and I was like, right, I can't do this anymore. One, my body can't take it, and two, it's not good mentally. Like, what's your goals, what's your ambitions? To go out and get drunk every weekend? So what, like, when it's all said and done, what have you achieved? So
yeah, I
wanted to approach it, but as well, because I was drinking stuff, like a lot of just like drinking and whatever else as well. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but like there's a lot of things that come with that. There's anxiety, there's so much. So I was like, people won't want to listen to me. Like, who wants to listen to me? I've never trained. Well, I did train boxing years ago, but that was irrelevant. I've never trained. Like, no one would want to do it, because I want to do something similar to this, or something like the lads Terrence Power and all have the talk and bollocks, which is excellent. Do something like that. But I just didn't think, one, I'm very nasally and I can hear it all the time. I need to get like my analyze removed or something, but I didn't think people listened to me, because one, I didn't have the knowledge. Two, I didn't think I sound horrendous. Well, I do in my own head, especially, you know, when you hear yourself back, you're like, is that really me?
Yeah.
So I was like, and then I just went, you know what, I'm doing it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like Dana White says, if he didn't go create the UFC, he could have went back and been the bellhop at it.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It wasn't really costing me any money. It does cost me a little money, like here and there, for traveling or whatever to shows. But that's, like I said, I would have been spending probably double that, triple that on a night out anyway. Yeah. So I just started doing it, and after that, it kind of really took off. It started slow, and then kind of after about 6 months, it just grew legs, and like I was interviewing so much then. But I was glad I did, because I know people who have done sport, like whether it be boxing or not so much MMA, but like the effort that they put in, and the amateur, like I said, the amateur scene doesn't really have huge coverage, and I think the amateurs as well as pros need to be covered, because you've seen them in the gym. They train like pros now, plus they're working 40 hours a week. They
don't have the luxury of being able to just train. Yeah, they have.
Yeah, so I felt they deserved it, and like that, I took people obviously liked hearing me, unfortunately for them, but I don't know. I think it was just, and then it was like I said, I'd like to go into something like what Terrence and all do, not the same thing, but something similar. And I thought, right, okay, this is where I can kind of cut my teeth on stuff, kind of learn stuff, and then for these amateur fighters going into pro later years, that they'll be able to, it's them
kind of have something to look back on almost.
Yeah. And to get used to getting interviews, because a lot of fighters don't like it. They want to just get in and fight, which is fine. But if you go to the UFC, you go to Bellator, you go to Brave, you go to PFL, you go to wherever,
levels,
levels, Octagon. Like, there's so many. Just, you need to do interviews, and that's just it. Like, it is unfair. Like, I think they should go in and fight, but there is an entertainment factor. You want to sell tickets, so it's them. Like, I've had a couple of lads that came on, and the first time they're quite awkward, quite stiff. I think some fighters can be quite guarded. They don't want to talk. Like, that's why, like, you know, obviously I've done Alta and fighter interviews. I find the Alta interviews are more open, because Alta have done Alta for a reason, whether it be addiction, whether it be in depression, whether it be in weight loss, whether it be in anger issues, whether
there's a why behind it.
Yeah, and they really want to get across their why. Whereas some fighters don't. Some fighters will be quite open, some fighters don't. But it's good for them, like that they could be stiff, and then the second time I have them on, they're a lot more relaxed. I try to have a good communication stream with every fighter before we actually go on. So I would talk to a lot of fighters through messages. So
yeah,
they like to get them comfortable with me, because even though they get in a cage and fight, to come on and do public speaking, because I do lives as well. Whatever you say can't be taken back if someone's screen recording it. So you have to be very careful in that not that you'll intentionally set them up for a bad answer, but sometimes the question might go that way. But it hasn't happened to me yet, so which is good. Touch wood, yeah. Yeah. So I just want to do it like that. I kind of took off. Yeah, Fansview did, so
that's great. No, I was kind of the same way. You know, I've been thinking about doing this for years. You know, I always knew I wanted to do something. You know, like, and to be fair, like my preference is to be on the other side of the camera. You know, because I like the technical aspect of things. You know, like running the wires and, you know, securing them properly. You know, and giving everything a name, and, you know, just, you know, I like that aspect of it. You know, and then knowing that it would be difficult to find someone else to, you know, kind of share in the passion and maybe want to do something as well would be difficult. So I knew I was going to be forced to be in the driver's seat here, and I never could figure out what I wanted to do it on. And then, you know, it wasn't until, I don't know, probably a couple months ago at this point where I tell everyone this, I got banned from talking about like MMA and jiu-jitsu from at home. So I'm like, it just kind of clicked in my head. It's like, all right, here we go. This is going to be my outlet now. And now I get to have fun talking with folks like yourself about, you know, one of my favorite genres is, you know, combat sports. So yeah, like I had to, and then like I just, I had to force myself to do it, because, you know, it was always, you know, the kind of the what if, you know, like, you know, no one's going to want to listen to me. And then same thing, like my voice, I don't like listening to my voice. I'm getting a bit better with it now, because I've had to, like, I listen back to everything I record and have to, you know, figure out where to, you know, edit and, you know, what spots I need to take out and stuff like that. I'm a lot more comfortable with it now than I was, a month and a half ago when I decided to start this.
Yeah, so, it's a good setup in here, though. I really like it.
Well, hopefully soon, and this isn't saying anything about Locomotiva BJJ, which is my first and only sponsor. Well, second, Wolverine Fiber, check them out. You know, like, because initially what I was going to do is work on this from home. I have like an office in my back garden that I have a shed in my back garden that I'm turning into an office for like the last 2 years. And I was going to do it out there, but it just it's not set up properly. So Edson was kind enough to offer this place, and I'm so thankful to him for letting me do that.
You know, I like it.
It's a great spot. It's a really nice room, and the gym in general is awesome. Check it out. Give them a follow, Locomotiva at Locomotiva_Jiu-Jitsu on Instagram. Check them out.
Yeah, no, the mats and all are quite nice in here as well. And that's all I want to say. Fair play to you for being able to do this. Like, you've got the cameras, you've got this, you've got all that going, whereas obviously you've seen I wouldn't be able to do this by myself. I can barely talk. I can barely speak English. So for you to do this, and like I said, if you pay well, I might come on and I might help you on this. But yeah, no, fair play. And like that, just go for it. Like I said, what's the worst that can happen? Like, it's the problem with people as well. People want everything to be perfect when they start.
Yeah, it's not going to be perfect.
It's
like I said, both of our first episodes, we screwed them up.
Yeah,
you know, and it's just one of those things that happen. I am so worried every time we start that I'm not recording. Like, I'm so paranoid. Like, I kind of keep glancing. Anytime I look this way when I'm not talking directly to the camera, it's just to make sure we're recording.
Yeah,
you know,
because I can imagine you get through half an hour and it didn't record. So that's why it's handy to obviously have someone on the other side of the camera, make sure that light's on and make it going. But yeah, see, that's what I find. People want everything to be perfect. Like, I started Fansviewmma on my phone, and that's it. And I only bought a laptop the other day, so which means I'm going to take a lot of stuff offline, because there's a lot of pro fighters that would talk to me, but they don't want to do an Instagram Live, which is fair enough, because Instagram Live is good. It was good for helping me with follows. I had like Conor McCarthy on. These are the ones I think off the top of my head. Blaine McGill and Jordan O'Neill. And I mean, the numbers watching that went through the roof, and the follows I got because of that. The only thing is, you've probably seen it, it can lag. it can stop, and then like
just cut out.
Yeah, the audio is off with the visual,
the distortion.
Yeah, so it is good for the purpose like that. If I was doing all those interviews where I had to do them on Zoom and take them off and edit them, I'd be doing it a lot less. Whereas I can sit at home, I can press a button, I can talk to them, I can finish after, I write a caption, and it's all up within 5 minutes of the interview being done with no editing, because everything kind of corrects itself. Like I said, it's not perfect, but it gets something out there for them, it gets something out there for me. And then obviously with the collab is really good on Instagram. So if I collab with Fire, it goes on their page and my page. So whoever's friends, fans, family or whatever, they don't have to necessarily. I'd rather they come to my page and follow me, but they don't have to. They can see it there, and it's. I just think it's so much better. So
yeah, no, there's certainly a lot of benefits to doing that. Sorry, so what? What was I say? The name Fansview. Where does that come from?
I don't know.
You know?
I don't know. It was. I remember years ago on Sky Sports. There used to be. Because I used to love soccer. I really don't watch it that much anymore. I'm an Arsenal fan, that's probably why. I think I watched the Super Sunday, and there was 2 matches back to back, and 2 of them were 0-0, and I was like, oh, here. So what, I can't, I'm just going to watch 2 lads beat each other up.
Yeah.
But they used to have a thing called Fan Zone. So basically, if you went to watch, say, Man United versus Liverpool, right, you could listen to the normal commentary, right, but they had like a booth like this maybe with the 2 fans watching it. So you've got a Man United fan, a Liverpool fan, and you could have the little screen that you could see them. And what I liked about it was they weren't overly technical, but it was just the passion. Just the passion of them, like scream, like, and you know, if Liverpool scored, your man would be like, so, and it was, I don't know, so, and as well, because like that, I'm not technical, I don't know, I've never trained, so this is my view as a fan. Like, my opinion is my opinion based on a fan's opinion, not as an expert's opinion or someone that's in the scene. Because I think sometimes a lot of people who do this, if they say something, they get jumped on and say, well, you're not a fighter. Like, you can't say this. Which I think is unfair as well. Like, I think it depends what type of criticism. I don't think they, like, if you can make a point that may be valid, you could make the point as just say, let's say Paul Brown, for instance, he might make a point. But if I make that point, he's
the expert.
He's a black belt, but I'm not, so it doesn't matter. But it's like, are you a chef? No. Well, can you come, like, if you go in and you don't think your food is cooked correctly, can you then say, well, that's
this isn't cooked correctly? Yeah.
So it all depends, and I think it depends how your criticism comes across. You have to be constructive with it. Like, I don't like to put anyone down. Like, if someone lost, I wouldn't say, oh, they should have done it. Maybe they didn't put their best foot forward. There's way of wording things as well, because
yeah, for sure. You can still be positive.
Yeah, because some fighters get, like, if they've had a loss and they get slated, they get sensitive, and which is okay, because I know what they've put into that. Like, maybe they didn't have the best performance, but like that, they've had 8 weeks of a horrendous camp. There could be injuries, there could be this, and like that, it's hard. That's like if someone just turned around to me and said, like, after years, your podcast shy. Like, you know, that sort of way. That's what it would be. It'd be like everything you've worked for, you're getting thrown back in your face. So that's why I try and keep it. It doesn't always have to be positive, but it has to be constructive.
Neutral.
It doesn't have to be detrimental to the fighter. You know, you don't have to be putting the fighter down. But so that's kind of where it's the fan's view. It's not an expert's view. It's just what I think. And like that, I usually stay neutral most of the time. If there's 2 Irish people fighting, I never make. I don't like calling fights. I'd rather just see it. I don't like, especially when it's 2 Irish. If someone asks who do you think's going to win, I'll just say I'm not going to answer that. Whoever wins wins. Like, especially at amateur level. Like, you don't need, if like, I don't have a huge following, but like, I do have a lot of fighters that follow me and that would text me and obviously like what I do. And it's not that I wouldn't want to upset. I just, at amateur, just let the 2 guys go fight. Who like it's amateur. They need experience. There's not a huge amount at stake. There's no point in me going, oh, this person's going to win. That, just let them fight and see who wins.
Yeah, that's spot on, I think. So with Fansview, like, you have these interviews. Like, do you, like, you're okay? So like, I get notifications anytime you go live, and then 20 minutes or an hour later, I get another notification that you're going to. How many of these are you doing, like, in a day?
It depends. I've slowed it down a lot lately because you probably realise between kind of, I want to say January, February, I took a bit of a break, and what was happening was I was coming home from work and I was doing maybe 3 or 4 a day.
Yeah.
Right, which wasn't sustainable. I was literally coming home.
Insane.
I was maybe eating something. I was going up. I was doing the interview, and then and I was booking them for like 5, 6, 7, 8. So it depends on who it is, but they typically run for half an hour, 45 minutes. So then I had 15 minutes to maybe go down, have a cigarette, because I smoke, which I know isn't good for me, but I'd go down, have a cigarette, I might have a drink, like a little bite to eat or something as well, and then I'm back up, and I have a light in my face now, but I didn't always have it, but I have a light in my face for that time as well, so, and you might see me sometimes, I'm like blinking, I'm like struggling to see. Then if one finishes after half an hour, I'm like, right, now I can have my shower. So I literally was going, and it was just so hard. So I try and limit them, that I either do like 1 a day or 2 a day, maybe for the week, or I do 2 days where I maybe do the 3, 3 and 3 or something like that. But I can't consistently do it because at the end of it, the fighter's not going to get me in the best form or the best way I can do it, so I had to slow it down. Unfortunately I can't give that many, but I always try and look for new fighters as well. I don't always try and have the same fighters on. Do you know with Instagram,
do you know, or can you delay the release of the video?
Yeah, so when it goes to, you can go to discard media and it will discard it as a sentence, but if you actually go into your archives, when you go to your home screen, your profile screen, if you go to archives, they keep all the lives for 30 days.
Okay.
So if I done an interview, but the problem is, because it's been live, if you're talking about something relevant, some people might have seen it anyways. So it depends. Usually what happens is Clan Wars is on Saturday coming, so I will usually 2 weeks out start doing interviews for Clan Wars. I don't like doing them fight week, but sometimes fighters want them fight week, because I don't want to be bothering them. But I try doing them 2 weeks out and just try and make sure everything's relevant. I don't like to do things too far in advance unless the fighter asks for it. So I want to do there's Clan Wars coming up, then there's your fighting championship after. So I like to keep them all within a 2 or 3 week period of that. And we haven't had shows for ages. So I've only been doing very few interviews. So next week I think is going to be a busy week because it's a week before Clan Wars.
That's on the 11th or 10th.
I want to say the 11th. What's the date today?
Today is the 4th.
Yeah, they run on a Sunday. Yeah. They run on Sunday. Yeah. So yeah, it's tough. So I have scaled it down. Like I said, I'm after getting a laptop after a year and a half, or more than a year and a half doing this. So there's going to be a lot of stuff taken offline as well, which is then going to take up more time. Right. So it means I can't do the quantity of interviews anymore.
That's good, but your quality is going to be bumping up.
It's going to be better. I'll be able to get more pro fighters on Zoom or whatever, whatever channel or whatever way I choose to do it, whatever platform. And it also means because I'm going to start doing, I've got one interview up on YouTube, and I need to work on that, and I need to get the admin. So they'll go on Instagram and then they can go on YouTube as well. So there's going to be a lot more admin work on my side, which means the actual quantity of interviews might go down, or it might be that I just have to set aside a day, like Sunday, right, this is the day that I put everything up on YouTube, or just get them ready and release them day, because on YouTube you probably know you can release them at a certain time.
Yeah.
Just get them ready to shoot the edit or whatever, and just have them ready to go for a certain day.
Alright, right on.
Yeah, so I'd like to hopefully get more pro fighters. I've talked to a couple of fighters from the UK, there's a couple of fighters from America that want to have a chat, but they don't want to do it on the live, which is fair enough.
How are you gonna? So it's still gonna kind of be the remote viewing, basically. So like through Zoom and whatnot. Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's like that because it's not live. It can be edited.
Yes.
Because what I find with the lives as well, depending, you get some, like I say, Conor McCarthy had one of the biggest lives that I had, and so did Jordan and Blaine McGill, and there was a couple of others as well. But what happens is, because especially Conor, he's quite young, so he's a lot of young friends, and they're writing comments. And that's one thing I struggled with at the start, was I would look at the comments and I'd smile because I'd see they've written something funny. Whereas now I don't look at the comments. Like if someone wants a question asked, put it in the question box, because and I always try to stress that to them as well. Because someone got off to me and they were like, I'm sorry I was smiling. I didn't even realise, but they were looking at the comments their friends were writing. So stuff like that as well. Like I said, and stuff can't be, if you say something mistakenly, like, or you say something like maybe you come across as a person that doesn't curse and you curse or something, like that will always be there. If someone's scripted, chances are no one's know of all the 6 or 7 people watching it at the time or screen recording it. But if something's said that like might not be what you really feel, or what, like, it's there, it can be potentially there forever.
Yeah, for sure. And especially like if you're an amateur and you're young, you know, you're probably more, I don't want to say more likely to say something, you know, maybe that you don't necessarily want out there. But you know, if you're an amateur and you say something, well, I don't know, these days, like, they go back 10 years anyway and try, you know, look for anything to try and cancel someone.
Yeah, they look at your Twitter, your Facebook, and
yeah. So like I kind of understand that. You know, that kind of fear, especially like even like for some of the pro fighters. I get that. But yeah. So on top of Fansview, that you are very active with, that's one of the things I struggle with. Like when it comes to the Wolverine stuff, it's staying on top of it and staying more or less relevant, really, staying at the top of someone's news feed. I find that to be difficult, and I'm hoping this kind of helps things out. So on top of doing Fansview, you're also doing MMA in depth, which is, you could say it's similar, but it's a bit more intimate and it's in depth. You know, so it's kind of like what we're doing here, but I would say you're more fighter focused and focused around, you know, kind of their training, or, you know, like their everything to do with, you know, their training, their fighting, their careers and stuff like that. How did that come about? That's
really weird, actually, because it was Cage Legacy. I want to say when it was Jordan O'Neill versus Troy Gibson, which was one of the fights. I don't know if you've seen it, but watch it. Ron was there. Ruan. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. He says people don't pronounce it properly. That's why he just asked me to call him Ron. He was there doing photography. He just rocked up with a camera and just said, "I'm a photographer," and they just let him in. A couple of days later, well, he is a photographer though, but like, usually you have to go get credentials or this, that, the other, whereas he just rocked up with camera, walked in, and then it was like 2 or 3 days later, he just sends me this picture. And it was a picture of me at the cage. I can't remember what it was. I think I had it on, it's probably my Facebook profile or something. I had it at the cage. And I just went, well, thanks very much. No one ever takes a picture of me. And then we got chatting. And then he just said, look, he used to fight as well. He's fought the likes of Alexander Yankov, Dylan Logan, Decky McNamee. Wow. Decky, yeah. He was as an amateur fighter, and he loves MMA, and obviously he's doing photography. He goes, he said, he obviously had looked at me and a couple of others on the scene. He goes, I like your interview style. What I want to do is like the in-depth stuff. And I said, that's really funny, because I want to do it as well, but I don't have the technical knowledge. I don't have the equipment, stuff like that. So from there, we done Matisse was our first one. So we met up. I went into Dublin, we met him for a coffee. We said we'd give it a go. Then we done Matisse was our first one. And like the first one, if you actually watch the one with Matisse, there's a lot of transitions, you know, where he's punching and kicking the bag and stuff that, which is really cool. But that added so much time onto it. Like that whole process took about 3 hours to do, like a 40-minute interview. So Ron was, we used to do, like, if the fighter was, we used to do them walking towards the screen, but depending on like the space, and you know yourself with lenses, if you have a wide lens, if you have a small lens, and the space you have, it might not. So like that stuff was kind of cut out, and it was cut out to speed up the process of getting it out, because when we first started, because this is a joint venture between me and him, when it first started, it was more relevant to what was going to happen next, so you needed to get it out quicker. Whereas kind of with Fansview, what I wanted to do as well is I wanted to get behind the fighter, but this way was easier, because I find that people will open up easier if there's just you and them. Obviously you've got Ron and there's an empty gym or there's no one there. No, people might be a bit more open to letting you delve in that bit, because I want to get across that, like, people see them for 15 minutes or 9 minutes, whether they're amateur or whatever. They see them on the night of fight, and then it's over. Everyone forgets about if they've won or lost, like it only lasts a day or two and then you're back on it. I want to show what these people are putting in behind it, because they put in so much and they get so little credit. They're not recognised as well. So we're in depth. I really like it, and it is going well. Like that, we've had really good guests. Been there, Brian Moore, Janderson. I can't think, they're going to kill me off the top of my head, but there's like Matisse, Alexander O'Sullivan. We've had some of the CMAC lads, Nahom Weddy. It's good because a lot of the amateurs don't get, like I said, don't get enough coverage, but the early pros as well, I think, really suffer in this country. They don't get enough. So we've got some experienced pros, and I found the people, like we done Jordan Fiore there recently as well, Derek Kelly. We want to get these people as well just before they go pro. So if we see someone that, like, obviously it's hard to, like, the logistics of it is hard. Like Ron is excellent what he does. Like I just think the quality, I don't think anyone touches us with the quality right now in terms of sit down interviews in MMA, because not many people do them. So but I just think Ron is fantastic. But then my job is to get the fighter, my schedule, Ron's schedule, to line up, because I'm off weekends, he might be working weekends. Fighters, have crazy schedules. Yeah. So I have to try and get us three off at the same time.
It's tough.
And get us into an empty gym before class starts. And with my work, I might finish at 1, might be 2. Like, there's no set time. When it's over, it's over. So I need to then get from Kildare to Dublin, and depending on where, if it's in the city, Ron can get in himself. Whereas if it's like somewhere else, I was about to say Swords, but he lives near Swords. If it's somewhere, I might have to go get him. So I have to try and get this before like 4 or 5 o'clock and get it done, the interview. Because like you said, to set this up doesn't take 5 minutes. No. It takes quite a while. You have to make sure the mics are right, everything's right. So sometimes that can be difficult. And we have ran into difficulties, or we've had where we might have to rush it. So that's what, like, if we both have a day off, it's more ideal that we can, because like we can get up, we can get there, like if there's a way of getting into the venue early, because I think a lot of fighters think you just show up, you put the camera there and it's done, whereas like, you have to set up, has to be right, the audio has to be right, and it could take 20 minutes to half an hour, and then you have to have the conversation, which could be 40 minutes to an hour. Like I think our two longest ones was Kieran Davern and Alexander O'Sullivan, and I didn't mind that they were longer. Kieran Davern is like an absolute OG of the game, and he's been around, and he's such a good coach. You've probably rolled with Kieran, have you? Or he's been up in SBG.
I might have seen him.
He's very good. And then Alexander O'Sullivan really, really intrigued me, because he's got the most amateur fights for amateur. So, like,
how many does he have?
He had 30. He had
30?
Yeah, he had 30. And then he's gone pro now. He's 2-0. 2 armbar finishes, Cage Conflict and Cage Warriors. So yeah, it's really, really good. Just our schedules, because it's so hard. There's some weeks we miss people. We were doing it that there was like one day we drove to Wexford to do Brian Moore. Yeah. So I went up to Dublin. He lived in City Centre at the time. Picked Ron up at like 5 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning. That's the last thing to want me to do. But I was like, Brian Moore's massive entry for us. Yeah. So we picked him up, we drove to Wexford. We were there early enough, about half an hour early. He just said, look, just hold on for another 15 minutes, whatever. So we done the interview with him. Brian Moore was excellent, and what I found, because he's done so much media, it was just so seamless, in a sort of way. We drove from there to SPG Tullamore. My tyre blew out on the way. Oh, no. So I had to go change the tyre, go back. We done Andrew Barrett. I think we done Kieran Davern first, and then we done Andrew Barrett. And they were both, like, I think Brian Moore one was 45, Kieran was an hour and a bit, and I want to say Andrew was about 40 or something like that, 35, 40 as well. And then you take the driving time, it was like a 15-hour day, and we said we could, like, because we're not making any money off it, and because you only have 2 days off a week, and Ron obviously has a partner, and like, you need your personal time, and like I said, there's not enough memory on some of these things, on some of the cameras, and if you go over, it reduces the quality of it as well. So I don't think we'll be doing the 3 in a day again. That's why if we knew we weren't going to be able to do one for 2 or 3 weeks, we'd done that, so we had something to release every week. Now we're doing it as much as we can, but we can't, like I said, like, I don't know how much that trip cost me with the blown out tyre and diesel, and then we had to feed ourselves, and I enjoyed it, but like that, it was saying with Vance, you need to kind of detach yourself sometimes and have your own time. I think that's one of the main things is when I go for something, I go hell for leather. And
yeah,
then
the same way.
And then you go to, you burn yourself out, and then you're no good to anyone. And then you end up taking an extended break, and then you're gone, and stuff's being missed. Whereas I just take it a lot easier now, because I would like this to become a profession or a job at some stage, but right now I have to make sure I pay my bills. I have to make sure I do my normal job. So, and I want to enjoy it still. Like when you stop enjoying it, then you're gonna have to stop. So, like if I'm doing 15 hours on a Saturday on one of my 2 days off, I'm gonna stop enjoying it. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
The hardest part, I think you've already done it, and that's getting started.
Yeah.
You know, and now you just need to kind of keep up with it. And I certainly hope you do, because, like I said, they're very good. Now, I guess one question I have is, like, how does it feel meeting all these, like, these fighters, especially like some of the amateurs that you know are just gonna one day be like a huge star? Like, because there's the main person coming to mind right now is like Jordan Fury. He is going places, and like how does that feel?
It feels
it's
good.
Gotta be, sorry, I mean, it's got to be cool, because like you're getting there before anyone else almost, you know. And I mean, not, you know what I mean, like you're getting there in the beginning, you know. You get to kind of be the guy being like, oh, I was doing that before, it was cool, kind of a thing, you know.
Yeah, you see, that's what the biggest thing is with fighters, is everyone wants to support them when they get to the UFC or they get the belt.
Yeah.
No, not that no one wants to support them. Like, I found Jordan Fury has a very good fan base, right?
Yes.
And that's obviously due to his age as well, because I find when we do amateur fighters that were younger, some of their clips might do better than some of the pro fighters. But when you have to look at the ages as well, and the internet, and how big their circles are at a certain age. Like Jordan Fury's clips and all done excellent.
Yep.
But because of Fansview, I have that knowledge of them.
Yeah.
And like that, like they're going places. Keith Kyo's another one. Jordan Bradshaw, Jess Paulo, Armin Herzig, who's currently doing the Octagon Challenge.
Yeah.
Like, it's nice to get their story first, if you get me.
Absolutely.
Like,
I get it.
To do that big interview, like a big interview for them first. Because who knows? Like, if you look at Conor McGregor's clips, you know, where he's bald and he's like, I'm gonna be in the UFC one day. That's what I like, because whoever recorded that gets paid every time.
I want the UFC to come back to me.
Yeah.
In 10-15 years time.
Yeah, so he gets paid, I believe, every time that's shown by UFC for royalties, because he owns the footage. So
that's good. That's awesome.
Me and Ron need some of that money.
You see why I made you sign a release?
Yeah, exactly. So me and Ron want that money. But like I says, it is exciting, because now obviously Jordan's got his debut coming up.
Yeah. I'm so looking forward to that.
It was really hard to match him, I believe, because that boy hits like a truck.
Scared of him. I would be.
I sat beside him. Do you know what? Like, and I find when you meet these fighters, everyone's so, oh, they're this, that. Like, there's very like that. There's only 1% of people in any kind of, whether it be group of people or like that. So fighters, let's say, there's only 1% of them that are actually arseholes, right?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest misconception about MMA. They're this, they're that. And like, I met Jordan Fury, Dara Kelly, like that, all those guys.
They're the nicest guys.
And they're the nicest. I think their community as a whole is the most welcoming one. I've been in different circles, whether it be GA, soccer, and they're very cliquish.
Yeah.
And whereas MMA, no matter what you've done or what, like your background may be, if you're willing to show interest in them and change maybe your behaviour or whatever you were previously doing, or whatever, if you just want to get better, that's all anyone wants. So
one thing I've noticed from like like other sports, so like say GA, basketball, football, like if you're like say you're an athlete and you kind of come from money or like a sporting family, there's definitely that kind of cliquish favoritism that kind of comes along, and that is impossible to have in fighting.
Yeah,
like you can't. It's basically it's how good are you on the mats, basically, and that is all that matters. Nothing else. Even like, it doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank or who your daddy is or whatever. It's how do you handle yourself on the mat there, and I think that's certainly one of the things that kind of separates combat sports from the generic stuff.
Yeah, because like that with money is probably the worst thing for you in MMA, because why would you want to fight if you had money? A lot of fighters that do really well, like look at Conor
from it.
He didn't, and now he's got abundance of it. And like that as well, in these team sports, there's people to carry you as well, right? And MMA, people say, yeah, it is a singular sport, but it's also a team. You wouldn't get there without your team.
Oh yeah, it is 100% a team sport.
But once that door closes, not that's all on you, because if you look at the likes of Paddy Hoolan and stuff, and how Chris Fields is another one that comes to mind, how well they do in the court, like when Chris Fields goes, put your right leg over, obviously they can see something, and you can see like that. It's like a computer game. Paddy and Chris come to mind because they're at all the shows nearly that I'm at, and Chris Fields kind of scares me as well when he's like, do it, and I was like, I know if that fighter doesn't do it and he goes back in Monday, I can't imagine what that thing's gonna be like. But it's because he cares and because he knows how much time that fighter's put in. Not that he's getting angry, but he's like, you need to get this done. Like, he's put so much time into them. They put so much time into themselves that, like, that's just a passion. And Paddy's the same, and like that. Those two coaches, as well, the other coaches, but they're the two ones because they're the two kind of loudest. Yeah, if you get me when it comes to it. Patrick McAllister from FAI, like, and I think FAI, like, they're doing so good right now. Paul Hughes, Reese McKee, Joe McColgan obviously isn't there anymore, but you can see a migration of fighters going over to them right now. And Patrick McAllister's another one who's quite loud. It was weird when I was watching, like when you're watching on TV, and I'm like, I usually hear him from sitting there, and it's weird when you hear them on the TV. But yeah, I lost track of what we were actually talking about there. It was getting the fighters before they're famous. Yeah, and you can see, like, with the current crop of fighters that's like coming up now, you've got Danny McCormick, Sean O'Bannon, obviously Reese, Paul Hughes, Caelan Loughran.
The pool of talent that is currently competing, kind of the amateur and kind of, I say, low level professional level. Like, it's amazing. It's so good. And now, like I'm not like you. Like, I don't remember everyone's name, but I generally will remember their face. Yeah. And it's like, I saw that guy or girl, and you know, like they're going places. They're kicking ass, and like it's amazing. Even like Shauna, she's doing some great stuff in the ring now. Like with Invicta, she just had her fight over in, well, I say just had it. It was like maybe a month ago now over in Denver.
I think it might have been. No, she was supposed to fight a month ago and it didn't happen.
When did she fight in Denver?
She fought a while ago. She was supposed to fight around the time Cage Warriors was on, because I actually met her at Cage Warriors. And Shauna's, all these people are lovely. And Shauna is, I want to say 29 going on 30. And I think Sean in the next, I think there's a lot of positives about Sean. I think Sean is so marketable as well, with the whole mama beating, the look, the personality, the way she carries herself. Like, there's going to be so many people going in. I didn't even mention, like, the guys from SPG on Bellator. You look at Dara Kelly, he was named top 25 ESPN prospects.
You know, like, I remember the one day I was walking around there and I realized I kind of, not necessarily have to check myself, but like, just the amount of killers that are in there, like it's unreal. I remember it was like I was up on the balcony and I was just looking at the folks on the ground and I just started counting Bellator, UFC, and I'm like, Jesus God, it's like, you know, it's more than 60-70% of the squad down there, and it's like, God, it's like just murderers, all of them, like, you know, they're all straight killers. And you know, just for me myself, being around like such high level athletes, like, well, one, it makes me feel this small, but two, it's just like, it's one of the reasons why I love SPGs, because like it is a world-class facility with world-class fighters, you know, and you know, they take a lot of things seriously there, and
100%.
You know, and I forgot my train of thought now, but like it's such a fascinating and unique perspective to have, seeing these guys train, and then coming from me, where it's like I said, because I never grew up in sports, like I never watched it on television. I didn't really participate when I was younger, but then to, you know, be in a new sport that I really enjoy, and then to see these folks in the gym, and then to kind of almost like find out for the first time, it's like, oh, like, I know this guy, I see him, holy shit, ESPN top 25. Yeah. Or, you know, I have a fun story about a fighter out of the gym. I'll say it now. I was doing a jits class one day, and there were these two women who came in, and they kind of, Megan Hamill, I believe her name is.
Yeah.
And she was with another woman, and they were taking the class, but they were kind of keeping to themselves, you know. And you know, it was a gi class, but the other girl, she didn't have a belt on or anything, you know. And so the whole time I'm thinking maybe she's new, you know, and Megan's friend, you know, and he's trying to introduce her to it or whatever, right? You know, so the class goes on, you know, as normal, no big deal, whatever. And then after the class, we kind of, you know, go to the back of the gym and kind of packing up my stuff. And then, you know, I see her there. And, you know, I introduce myself. Hi, hello, how are you? How are things? You know, and then I'm like, you know, how was that? How was the class? You know, did you enjoy it? You're just kind of small talk. The whole point for me was to, like, I know, like, for myself, it can be intimidating going into a gym and, you know, having to compete with all these other, or not compete, but, you know, train with all these other people who, you know what they're doing and whatnot. You know, and as you know, as a father of 2 girls who I want involved in the sport, I look for other women to get into it because I want my daughters to have people to look up to, you know. And so I was just trying to make her feel comfortable, you know. And she was just kind of like, the whole time I'm staring at her or talking to her, she's kind of staring at me like, you know. And I'm immediately, it's like, okay, maybe English isn't her first language. And then I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna let this, like, okay, like, have a good day, talk to you later, blah blah blah, hope to see you again. And then like 2-3 weeks later, I see an Instagram post on John Kavanagh's page, and it's Lucy Pudillo.
Yeah,
I can't pronounce it. Terrible name. Yeah, it was former, like, I saw her there and I looked her up. I'm like, holy shit, former UFC fighter. At the time she was fighting an octagon, and it's almost like here I am talking to her like, you know, she's some newbie, and it's like, so the face she was giving me was certainly warranted. But
have you seen her since?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And like, has she ever talked about that day?
No, like, I mean, I haven't, you know, like, had a full-on conversation with her, but like, I've seen her in the gym say hello and stuff, you know, stuff like that. Like, now I know who she is, and it's just like,
you want the ground to swallow,
yeah, just.
But like that, John Kavanagh has, I want to say, 100+ pro fighters.
Yeah,
like, he is 100+. Like I said, we've mentioned obviously Dara, Jordan. You've got Kenny, another up and comer. You've got Richie Smullen, who's an OG. You've got the likes Kiefer Crosby, Carl Moore, Brian Moore, Sinead Kavanagh. Like, they're the ones that spring to mind straight away. I'm probably forgetting a few, but then I can't pronounce his name. He fought Lee McCracken at Bellator, and he was fantastic. Like, and you have all these fighters, like I said, migrating from different countries to relocate. Like Johnny Walker, Johnny Walker was a massive star before he came to SBG, and he came to, I know he's got an Irish wife now, and I think that was one of the reasons why he moved over here. But then obviously he hooked up with John. Like, he talked recently about, you know, his little losing skid or whatever and what was going on there, and then look how they've turned it around. Like, he bet Anthony Smith, there was a really weird exchange in that fight. Did you hear that, where he's like,
yeah,
you know, I'm mad because I don't know if that, like, someone said maybe it's PTSD from after what happened, or was it he was trying to psych himself up? I reckon he was trying to psych himself up because he probably knew he needed to finish. But you've got so many fighters that just migrate, so it must be like that. You're not going to recognize everyone, because sometimes I have to double take. Like, I was out and I was like, is that Joe? I can't remember who it was, but I was like, is that them? Like, they've just got so many fighters there, and like that.
Like, I'm good with faces, but see, my issue is, like, because I never followed sports growing up, so I still find it difficult to follow or to stay so up to date with things. That's one of the things that's one of the times where I'm like, just everyone around here will like fucking murder me. Yeah, so, you know.
Yeah, no, that's, like I said, they're the most humble people. Like, you look at Kiefer Crosby for one. Like, if you watch his highlights, that guy is an absolute straight up murderer.
Absolutely.
Actually, funny, when I started Fansview, and one of my first videos I think I done was for Dylan Logan, and my second one was for Kiefer Crosby. He actually has it on his page. I deleted it because off my page I sent him or I think he'd download it or whatever, and I'm glad he did and put it on his page, and he tagged me, and I got a lot of follows off it. But I got hit with like copyright strikes because obviously they were from wherever, and someone reported. So I had to delete all my highlight videos except for the ones on Your Fighting Championship, because Decky doesn't hire. I think it's 5 Star Media. He has his own, so he owns his own footage.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it was Kiefer Crosby who shared it, and actually that's how a lot of Like, so, but you look at him and go, he's an absolute killer. But then, like, you've probably seen him in the gym. Like, he's just like, everyone in the gym is all people just trying to improve. And that's all it is. And I think that's where the good atmosphere comes out of. So, yeah. So if Kiefer actually didn't share that, who knows where I might be? Because I think at the time I got like 100 followers or something, which was good. Like, at the time I went from like 10 to 110. Then you had the likes of, I followed Shem Rock. Are you familiar with Shem? He obviously seen it. He started following me, and Shem was really good. Like, Shem was like, just keep going, lad. Just keep going. And it'll go somewhere. Like I said, I only had 150 followers at this stage. And then you had the likes of him, like Kiefer sharing that. Shem always helped. Like, there was a Bindar was another one. He like, me and Bindar have a really good relationship. Like, because I'd support him. I really like I can't wait to see what him and Janderson do in levels, because obviously they both were fantastic.
I'm looking forward to watching that in person.
You going over?
Yeah.
Work wouldn't give it to me off. Not that they wouldn't give it. We don't, like, everyone booked their, like, at the turn of the year, everyone starts booking their holidays.
Yeah.
So, and it's in July when everyone wants their holidays, and there's 2 people on holidays and they can't afford to have another person off, which is fair enough. But I will be watching from home. Like, there's so many, like, if I didn't have the support of the fighters, I wouldn't be doing as well as I'm doing, because I've had a lot of people really help me. Like, really help me, and like that, to try and, if I don't know someone, I'd be introduced to someone. Or I think a lot of how I get introduced a lot is word of mouth. Is, yeah, like, Dave was really good, or Dave went through this with me, and I think that's how it snowballed. So thank you to every fighter. Like, so obviously Dylan Logan at the very start, Bindar, Shem, Kiefer for sharing that, because at the time it was like Kiefer is massive name, and like, how he even seen it through all his notifications, who knows. But if he didn't share that, I wouldn't have got started. And like I said, the likes of Shem, Bindar, there's a couple more fighters as well, that if they didn't help me at the start, I probably would have just gave up, because it kind of not validated what I was doing, but actually made, okay, right, well, I'm doing something here that people like, so I'm going to keep going. So
yeah,
fighters helping me at the start, and if they didn't help me, that I don't think I would have kept doing it like that. Shem was one, like, Shem used to say, go on, lad, just keep going, blah blah blah. I remember I was in Germany somewhere, I was drunk, and Shem was like, lad, stop drinking, just come back and do it. Like, so it's little things like that. And then how the community welcomed me as well. So you've got the likes of Phil Campbell, brilliant commentator, Dec Lark and the ref, Jess and the cut team at Inside Out Care.
Yes.
That's
great.
Yeah, Dec Henna, I want to say, is another one who that I wouldn't be doing. Dec Henna from Full Power, Cage Leg, well, it's Cage Legacy Gym and Cage Leg, I wouldn't be doing. He actually invited me to my first show, but I was actually going as a manual. Manual was bringing me as, like, to kind of show me the ropes. But then and then I got the invite off Dec anyways. But I still went with Manuel, because he was nice enough to extend that arm to me and to go in, and he kind of did show me the ropes when we got there. This is what you do, this is what you don't do, or whatever, or what way things have worked out. So, and then, like, Dec Henna was really helped me at the start, and then Decky from Eurofine Championship has been nothing but good to me as well. The boys in Cage Conflict as well, Liam Shannon, Patrick, like
that's awesome. I'm happy to hear that there's like, you know, so many people that are in the community that are willing to help out, and, you know, are kind of so supportive of each other, because, you know, that's what we need, you know, and especially with, like, the stigma that comes along with, you know, fighting, combat sports in general. It's great to have kind of, like, more of this content out there to kind of normalize it, and, you know, to make, I mean, not that it's not mainstream, but to, you know, help bring it more into the
kind of niche though.
Yeah, a little bit, you know, but it's losing that nicheness, you know, and it's, like I said, it's becoming properly mainstream, and eventually I hope it'll be, you know, up there with, like, you know, football and GAA and stuff like that. And as long as we have folks like us who are out there, you know, trying to promote things and, you know, talk about, you know, kind of the good side of, you know, fighting, then I think we're definitely on track for that. So another question I have, like, is it difficult to kind of get interviews with folks? Like, so say you want to, like, do you have people coming to you? Or is it mostly you kind of
going to them? Okay. Usually we'll have a conversation, like, because I remember at the start as well, I put up, I think it was like for a show, does anyone want to come? Like, does anyone want to come on and have a chat? But I would say no one put themselves forward.
Yeah.
And I think it was they don't want to outstretch their arm to me. Maybe in case, like, I'm not going to say no. If any fighter texts me and say, "I want it," yeah, right, we'll sort it out.
Yeah.
And sometimes the things fall. Like I said, I was doing so many. Sometimes things fall through. But like I might get home from work and I might be just dying, and I'm like I can't do this today, or something might come up with them, and that happens so much. It actually happens a lot more than you'd believe. But like I don't find it too. Like I find the in-depths hard. One, because it's pro fighters, and they're so busy. They have so many different places to be. And like I said, there's 3.
You almost have to work around their schedule.
Yeah, you would, because I don't want. That's what I would say. I try to find a time that suits the fighter, not that suits me. I will say, look, I'm available from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock at night. Usually is kind of my thing, because after 9 I like to be getting ready and getting into bed before 10 for work the next day. And I say, you pick any time on these days between them, and we try to sort it out. And especially with the in-depths, like I said, you need to get it on them, and the logistics is so hard. But I think the more I've done, especially of the in-depths, a lot of fighters are wanting to do them. Like I said, they don't come to me and ask, but if I'm talking, a lot of fighters will say, I really like that in-depth thing. Or if you see, what I've noticed, if I see a fighter that constantly likes, when you put out an in-depth clip, I'm like,
yeah,
they want an in-depth. Or they'd possibly, like, I'd like to get around and do it to everyone, but like that, we can only do one every week or every 2 weeks. But overall, I don't find it hard to get interviews. There's some people that might not just want to talk to me because they don't like my style, which is fine. I don't mind that, because not everybody's going to like everyone's style or the way they approach things. Like I said, there is other people doing it as well. Raz, the Irish Fighters, he hasn't really done, like, he does more pros on his for Irish fighters, which is because he can get them on the Zoom or whatever. But most people have said, a lot of people have said no, in the case that, like, it's only my second fight, I want to concentrate on fighting, or just look. Sometimes they just fall out. Sometimes they might not want to do it, but they don't. So I'd rather you just say to me, look, I don't want to do it. You don't even have to say I don't like your style, or I don't like what, like, you personally. Well, it wouldn't even be personal. I wouldn't like to come on and with you. I just don't like the flow or the vibe. That's
Fair
fine.
enough. Yeah.
You don't have to come on with me. There is other people. I just want to be an option for someone, or an outlet for fighters, so they can tell their story, so they can. So like that. If I ever ask you for an interview and don't want to do it, just say you don't want to do it, because I'd rather them say no problem, or no, I don't want to do it, and then I can focus on, okay, well, I'll get someone. I'll just ask the next person. And I've always said to them, if you want to come on in the future, there's always an open invitation. Just drop me a message and we can get a call. So
I've had a few no's as well, and kind of the same way or same thing. It's usually they kind of want to focus on what they're doing, or maybe they just don't want to or whatever, and that's cool. Like, that's totally fine. And same thing. I just leave the door open, and like, just let me know anything changes in the future. Just hit me up.
I think a lot of it is when you're first starting out, and I found this with in-depth, is like, because I kind of came out of nowhere, and then we were doing in-depth, these sit-down interviews. A lot of people don't know you.
Yeah.
There's a trust thing as well.
True.
And if you're going to be having these deep, intimate conversations with fighters, you need to have that trust. And even with fans, I get told on a daily basis about fights coming up, or who's signing where, or whatever. And I'd never betray that, because trust is a huge thing. Because I'm not a journalist, I'm an interviewer. So you look at Andy Stevenson, he's a journalist, and he's fantastic. He's probably the only actual journalist the way he approaches.
Okay.
But you still need to have a level of trust with fighters, because you break that trust, you won't get interviews. And I think
you'll be screwed after that.
That's probably one of the issues you're probably having, that people say no, but they're probably going to see how it unfolds with you and see how these things go, and then they might come on once that trust is there, or they see what you're doing. Because I think that's what it was. I just don't think a lot of people knew who I was or what my interest. Because a lot of people come in for their own benefit. Like, I do want to get a job or something out of this eventually, but like, I don't know if you can see it. Like, there is a passion there. I want to help these people more than I want to help myself with what I'm doing, if you get me. So, and I think that's what has come true, and why I've been so successful in getting guests.
Yeah, no, I certainly see your passion and everything. Just your knowledge alone kind of illustrates, just your love for the sport in general. So keep it up for sure. Do you have like a dream interview? Like, kind of like, what's your, who do you want to one day be able to interview?
I'd love to interview Dana White on an in-depth.
Yeah.
I think that'd be interesting. Yeah, obviously everyone's gonna go with Conor, but like in Ireland right now, there's a couple. There's a good few nice ones. Like there's a good few like that. Obviously Conor, Kiefer Crosby's one I want to talk to. James Gallagher. I've talked to Danny already, who's doing fantastic. She was a fantastic interview.
That was a very good one.
Yeah, she was really good. And like when I seen her win the title, that was fantastic. Shauna Bannon's another one that I'd love to talk to. I'm trying to think of that. Richie Smullen is someone I'd really like to talk to as well. I don't think he gets as much coverage as he deserves.
Yeah.
He's no, and what he does with like the likes of Rian and what he's done with Gary Rooney, who I just recently spoke to. I'm probably missing some. Ian Gary I'd like to talk to, but like your dream one, like Dana White. I think like imagine him on an MMA in depth.
That'd be cool.
He would be, yeah, it'd be a lot. You probably have to cut out because it would be a lot of Carson, but no, he kind of would be. But realistically, is that going to happen? I don't think so.
Hey,
Dana White.
You gotta have goals.
I do have goals,
Yeah.
but I need to see. Yeah, it's easy to say Dana White, but I need to get to gold. I have to set the little goals to get that big goal. So my focus now is just trying to get as many good fighters as we can, people that want to do it, and then just build, like, because someone said to me the other day, they looked at the in-depth, I don't even know how many episodes were on, Ronald kill me, but they said like the catalogue of fighters you have there now already is only going to get better. Yeah. So like that, I'd love to be able to do everyone, don't have the time, but there are a couple like the likes of Kiefer, James Gallagher, Shauna, and who else did I say? Paul Hughes. Paul Hughes is one I'd love to get.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, Paul Hughes is one I'd love to get on an in-depth.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, when I was drunk at Cage Warriors, I was like, do you want to do an in-depth? And he's like, yeah, no problem. He's probably like, what the hell is an MMA in-depth? Yeah, who the fuck is this guy? So I won't be drinking at Cage Warriors the next time, because I think every fighter seen how good a time I had, because I was talking to all of them. But yeah, Paul Hughes is another one. I had Reese. Like I said, see, I'm forgetting because I've done so many. Reese McKee was a fantastic one, and we got him just at the right time, just before his fight. So like, there's so many more. I'd like to do
the pool is endless. So
yeah,
you know, not to mention it's always being added to.
Yeah,
you know, so
like you doing this with me, I want to do stuff like that as well. Beyond the Cage was the idea. Obviously, I've done the thing on In Depth where it's just a little article, but where we might talk to like Phil Campbell, Liam Shannon, Jess the Cut Woman, promoters, like from people who build the cage, to like Joe, because there's so many people, referees, judges, there's so many people involved in it. But like I said, the time constraints is the one thing, and it's something that I would look at doing if I got myself a camera and I learned how to use it. But then there's a lot of time in that as well. But like I said, I'm here for the long haul. I'm not in and out. I'm going to be here for as long as I can be.
That's good, and I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So I guess outside of combat sports and your interviewing and everything, what's Dave like to do?
Not drink as much anymore, but I started trying on Sundays, go somewhere nice, like go somewhere like you see the like Glendalough, Bond Glass, just do walks. I started. Dylan Logan has actually got an MMA gym. Well, he doesn't have he has a space and he does an MMA class, and I went to that for the first time the other day, and it wasn't fun getting the shit beat out of me by a couple.
That's
of
the best part.
Oh yeah.
Keep it up and then you can start beating the shit out.
Yeah, it was like an hour because it was like light sparring to warm up.
Okay.
Then it was like drilling, striking, and then it was using those drills. You had a couple of minutes where you could use one of the 3 drills to gauge reaction and stuff, and then at the end was like you sparred with every, like, so there was 6 of us there, so you sparred with every person for like 2 minutes or something. Like, I mean, there was sweat on the front of me, there was sweat, and I was like trying to throw leg kicks at it, but I was leaving, and then I was just getting punched in the face. Like, it was light, it wasn't full force, but it's been a long time since I've been punched in the face. But no, I really enjoyed it. Dylan was really good, so I've started doing that. I go to the gym. I have a son, so he started working there recently, so I don't see as much of him. He's out there making money now, so I'd like to spend time with him, but other than that, I just don't really do it. Like,
get in the gym some more.
Well,
Get in the gym some more. I want to see you on the mat.
yeah,
Sure.
SBG is a long way to travel for.
You don't have to go. You don't have to go there. There's plenty of gyms.
No,
You're in Kildare. How far is Nice from you?
it's like 5 minutes.
SBG Nice.
Yeah, it's like 5 minutes.
It's a great spot there. That's Peter Queeley's gym.
Yeah, it is. It is. And then you've got Conor McCarthy. I actually went to their beginners class with Conor, and it was absolutely fantastic. They do it every Saturday.
I've been wanting to go out there.
I could do. It's very, very good. Like you've got Sergey, Peter. I can't remember the name of the guy that does jits, but he's really, really good. Then you've got Conor, you've Paul Fitzy out there as well.
Yep.
And like that, when I started doing this, I've had an endless amount of fighters saying, we will like come up and we'll train you. And as well, like I touched on briefly when I had that little break, and this is actually what made me really come back, was I had 176 messages from fighters and stuff like, are you okay, are you okay? And it was something that I needed to take care of by myself at that stage, so I took a couple of days to get back, but I actually couldn't believe like I had that many people texting to see was I alright. And it wasn't fakery, or it was because like I said, I'd have a lot of really good relationships with people, so
That's cool. That makes me happy.
yeah, it was really good, and especially in today's age where like mental health is a big issue. Like I said, it wasn't really a mental health. It was a situation I got myself in that I needed to take care of myself. But it was nice to see that those arms were outstretched from so many people. So that was good. But like that, other than that, I'm trying to read more. I'm trying to change a lot of my lifestyle. Because like I said, it would have been drinking, it would have been all rushed, like it was this, that. I'm trying to start to get more organised and do different things that is going to benefit me in the future, because like being at the MMA class today made me really realise, like when I was sparring these young lads, like they're hungry, that like they like, if me and them mentally, they'd beat the fuck out of me, right? And my body's not in a good way, so I need to do everything I can to prolong my life and my body, because I can feel it now from smoking. When I lay down at night, you know, did you ever see the squeezy toy in Toy Story? Yeah, that's me. That's how I sound. Like it wakes me up sometimes. Like it's horrendous.
That's what what's his name? Jocko Willink. That's what he says. What is it? He was in an interview. The question was, what do you do, or what do you tell the person who's like getting older and getting like, or is becoming chronically aware of that? And he says, stop drinking, do jiu-jitsu, lift weights.
Yeah, and it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't. You don't necessarily have to do jiu-jitsu, and I think like you can do some sort of form of martial arts, but you don't have to. I think for some people, like I said, it is intimidating going in, but they're welcome places. Like some people might not like to go jiu-jitsu, you won't get hurt. Like all I see is jiu-jitsu guys in knee braces and they can't walk, and you're just like, it doesn't hurt, does it not? But like I think once someone's just there, I think people just need to be more active, and I think.
Well, it's good because it's like yoga, almost, like because you're doing a lot of stretching,
violent yoga,
murder yoga,
murder yoga. But no, it is good. It's a lot of stretching, and then like that, a lot of people say to me when they get on the match, any kind of issues that they have going on or concerns, that they leave them or they think about, and then they can come back to them and think about them with a clear head. And yeah, I think it is good like that, and especially for kids, because like it's so easy to go astray now. Like drugs are everywhere. Like I can literally walk out my house in 20 seconds, like get probably whatever I wanted. Like,
really?
Yeah, and I live in Kildare. I don't live in Dublin.
Wow.
Like, but it's like that everywhere. And I think for the kids, they need to have a focus, and whether it be martial arts, it doesn't have to be martial arts, but
it's something. Yeah.
But I think martial arts is the best for discipline, structure and humbleness. That's genuinely what I think. I think like that you could go to GA, but like that there is a fair bit of arrogance in GA. Not in all GA, but there's a fair bit of arrogance in all different other sports, because there's huge egos. Yeah. In combat sports, but there is egos, but your ego is getting bet every day in the gym as well. Like some days you're the hammer, some days you're the nail, and I think that's why it's more beneficial for people, is because the ego isn't. It is big when it comes to fight and stuff, but when it comes to gym, like I said, only 1% of people will have egos, and they're usually rooted out fairly quickly.
For sure, unless you know how to check it.
Yeah, and I'd say you I don't know if you've seen it, but I hear a lot of that, people coming into the gym and I see red, bro. I've won 100 street fights.
Bodies start dropping.
Yeah, but like that. Sorry. I think it is probably one of the most beneficial. But once someone just has a focus like that, just do what you want to do, and just like that. Just go in if you want to compete. And I think people just want to go in and they like that. It is intimidating. I've gone into gyms, and even if I went into a gym now to train, I'd still be really self-conscious, because I'd be like I'm going in, I'm overweight, I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't want anyone see me with my t-shirt off. Or it is still for me in what I do, and
that's where like you stick with, if you do it and you stick with it, like you'll get that confidence. Look, I'm a big guy too, and like I don't even care anymore.
Yeah,
you know, and
yeah, but you could fold people up.
I'm not. I mean, obviously, but no, no, like I'm not that great, you know, and like my training's been kind of slacking lately. But
what's your biggest benefit of training? What do you feel?
Confidence.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
And
it's like I've always been kind of a semi-confident person. You know, like I grew up an only child. I had to do a lot of things on my own. You know, even as an adult. You know, but I'd always be. Was that you?
Yeah, that was my stomach. It is very early, and I didn't eat before we came up. Before I came up.
What was I saying? So like I grew up an only child, and you know, so like I had to do a lot of things on my own, and even as an adult, you know, so like I always thought like I was confident, but like it wasn't. I think it was more so like just me forcing myself to do something that I necessarily didn't want to do. So I don't know if it was confidence or just me just doing it. But now, I'm really confident in pretty much everything, you know. And you know, even if I can't, you know, I kind of have that mentality. I was like, okay, whatever, I will fold you up if I need to, you know what I mean? Yeah. You know, it's just like I feel more secure in myself. So like I am a huge advocate for martial arts in general. You know, so anyone struggling with anything, I highly recommend it, because one of the great things is, you know, 24 hours in a day, you know, if you say you are really struggling with something, and if I were to offer you an opportunity to not have to worry about that, whatever it is, for an hour, you know, would you take it? And, you know, oftentimes I think probably, you know, and that's what it has afforded me, you know, stuff that I'm dealing with and other people's stuff that they're dealing with. It's an hour a day where they don't have to think about it. They don't have to worry about it. They don't have to, it's not them anymore. You know, they're not that person who has to worry about or have these issues, you know, because you need to be focused on, you know, your training, or else, you know, not that you're going to get hurt, but like, you know, you're going to get choked out, you're going to get tapped or whatever. Like you have to pay attention to what's going on, you know, or else, you know, there's consequences, you know, to not paying attention.
Not fatal, but
yeah, you know,
consequences that are going to get you hurt. But
so
like you started with Alta though, didn't you?
I did. And, you know, at the time, you know, for me, like I'd put on a bunch of weight, which I've slowly started to gain back. But, no, I was 130 kilos about, and, you know, I just wasn't happy with myself, wasn't happy with a lot of things at the time. And, you know, like I found it, you know, I initially went into it because when I turned 30, I like to do difficult things on my birthday, or like I have to do something difficult, and that was, you know, kind of like my challenge for the year. It's, you know, that was going to be my difficult thing to do. I didn't realize how difficult it was going to be, and I didn't realize, you know, honestly, how life-changing it was, because and I hate saying this because it sounds like so cliche, but like, you know, like jiu-jitsu saved my life, you know, and you know, in a lot of ways it kind of did, you know, like not necessarily that, you know, like I thought I was going to die, but like it saved me from kind of being in this, you know, kind of permanent depression, you know, and, you know, it saved me from, you know, kind of just going through the motions every day. You know, it kind of gave me, like I said, it gave me the confidence to, you know, deal with my problems, stuff that I was, you know, going through, you know, find help, you know, that kind of thing. So like I can't recommend it enough for anyone who might be struggling with something. And, you know, even for people who maybe started and, you know, maybe they have a tendency to quit things. What I would recommend to anyone starting out is, if you're a week into it, 2 weeks into it, you know, like you really enjoy it, sign up for a competition that's maybe a month or 2 months away. even as a white belt, whatever, think of it like, like you're an amateur, like your amateur career. I don't want to say your amateur career doesn't matter, but it's experience.
Yeah.
And then it gives you something to work towards. Exactly. So like, like I think for new people, when they start doing like jiu-jitsu, all they see is, they're coming in and getting beat up every day, which that is the first 6 months.
Yeah.
At least the minimum, the first 6 months. Yeah,
that sounds horrendous.
I loved it. That was my favorite part. I remember 6 months into it, I was rolling, I don't remember who it was, but I was rolling with them, and finally I think I had like gotten over on him, and I'm like, yes, like fine. And then I realized, holy, like it's been 6 months, and I'm like, all right, cool. Like I think I'm at a turning point, where things are going to come around, and it exactly was. But to be fair, at that time I was training, minimum 4 days a week, so I was there a lot.
Yeah.
So but like if you put in the effort, and like you will reap the reward, and like I said, if you start out and you enjoy it, sign up for a competition, and it gives you a reason to continue going, and then...
Will they let you sign up and do a competition that quickly as a white belt?
Yeah, 100%, yeah. I think you would get full support from your coaches as well. I can't think of any reason why they wouldn't give you that support, because like I said, you're working towards something, and it will keep you coming back in the gym, even if it's from a purely... what am I thinking of? Even if, like, they're thinking about it purely about themselves, like the gym owner or whatever, because it'll at least keep you coming back, and
keep that money coming.
Yeah, to keep the money flow for them coming. But like it is good. Competing's fun. I'm not a competitive person except for when I'm on the mats. That's the only time I'm ever really competitive. Beyond that, like I do not care win lose.
You seem very quiet, kind of chill.
Yeah, I'm super chill. Like I try not to be, like stressed out about things anymore. Like I'll be 34 in 2 weeks, and like who knows how many more of these birthdays I'm gonna get. And I know I'm not that old, but like I do think about that.
Yeah,
and
you're making me sound fucking old.
No, like
I remember when I was 34.
Well, I know. I know, it's, all this can end, on my way home today. And, and I struggle with, trying to make the best of every day all the time. But, like, that's really what I try to do. And like I said, jiu-jitsu helps me do that, and I really feel the weeks that I don't go. Like last week, I wasn't able to make it in at all, just between work and just family and stuff like that. I wasn't able to come in at all. And, I felt it, and 2 days a week minimum is like my medicine, and look, I can't speak about it enough. That's like, so this is why I got banned from talking about it now, because I would just keep going on and on and on about the benefits. Everyone needs to do jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
Do you think people, when they start trying to go and do too much, that they try to do too many days a week, rather than, like you said, if you're getting in 2 days a week, that's kind of your bottom out point? Do you think people try and go too much and then maybe get sick of it, or? I
don't know. I think maybe people probably get. I'm speaking like in my me and things. View, yeah, like maybe they get bored with it. That's why you need a competition. That's what I'm saying. To sign up for a competition and go compete. They can be kind of expensive. Like you're talking maybe like €100+ so find one that's 3-4 months down the road. You don't have to pay for it right away. Yeah. So that you can register for it, but usually like a month out or something like that, you get the money, need to you have to pay for it, but you can put your name down right away. But I think that's usually what happens with me, because like I have like undiagnosed ADD, so like I do have a tendency of kind of going from one to one thing to another and to another, and like with jiu-jitsu, that's probably one of the things I've stuck with the longest. And
so obviously it does have a massive benefit if you're stuck with it.
Absolutely. And it just turned into like a lot of things for me. It's turned in, like this podcast where I get to talk to, awesome people, and I get to talk about my well, I'm going to say my second favorite thing. First thing's my kids. But, I'm talking about one of my favorite things, in the world that, I could talk about this all day. There's times where I'm at work and work this doesn't happen all the time. This is hypothetical. You know, I could be, I just go to YouTube to find some background noise just to listen to or whatever, and then, you know, just because the way my feed is, you know, it's like a UFC video or some BJJ or something, and then I just start watching it. Like, oh, that's cool. Oh, look at this one. Next one. And the next thing you know, like an hour's gone by, and I'm like, shit. You know,
this is hypothetical.
Yeah, hypothetical. This never happens. And, you know, it's just like, I love it so much. And, you know, like you said with yourself, you know, eventually would like to move into this as like kind of full-time gig. I would love to do something like this, you know, full-time as well. You know, I don't know what yet. All I know is eventually I want to work for myself.
Trying to get paid doing this is the hardest thing. You need to be able to figure. Like,
I'm not like I'm thinking about it, but I'm not thinking about it because I do enjoy doing this, and I love, like I said, I love talking to people about this, and I could go on for days.
See, I think like that, your passion and my passion or whatever, I think eventually it will lead to something. But the way I look at it is, if it doesn't lead to a paid job, it doesn't. I still have a job that I like and I go to every day, that I finish early, that I can do this. Like, so I'm not hinging everything on me making it in this. If it, like, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing for as long as I can. Obviously, as I get older, there'll be more family commitments and stuff like that. So right as we stand, like, I'm single. I've one kid who's 17, so like he's not really a kid anymore. So like I've nothing that's really kind of taking my attention. Okay, so I want to ask, obviously, do your kids do? Because obviously you said you're 2 girls, is it?
Yes.
What ages are they, and do they do any combat sports at the minute?
No. Their oldest is 4.5, and then the youngest is 7, almost 8 months. So they don't do anything yet.
No, well, I hope definitely 8.5. But with the 4, does she show any interest in it? Does she take interest in what you do? And is there any fighters that are out there that you go, like, that's someone she could look up to?
Yeah, so she watches fights with me. I try to take her to like events, but like Allison, my wife, she's a little apprehensive about it, which is perfectly fine. And yes, she is probably a bit young still. I was thinking maybe this summer I might try and take her to like I don't know, either like Patty's gym, because that's like right around the corner from me, and like it's just super convenient. You know, just to try and introduce her to it. I brought her here a couple times, you know, let her, you know, jump around on the mats and stuff like that. I'm still trying to, like, my daughter, Faye, she's, you really have to kind of go slowly with her.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're still dancing around it. I hope she'll enjoy it. She's, regardless of if she wants to or not, she will be trying it, you know.
Jesus Christ.
But like, she doesn't have to stick with it,
Yeah.
you know. And I just want her to give it a go. And then, so she's, regardless if she wants to or not, she's having 2 goes at it. One now when she's younger, and then if she doesn't stick with it, doesn't enjoy it, when she gets older, she's doing it a little, or I'm going to make her do it again, just from like a pure, like, self-defense point of view. And then hopefully maybe she'll like it again.
Yeah.
You know, and same goes for, you know, both girls. As far as, you know, like female fighters, like, you know, so you have like the likes of Lucy. You know, honestly, like, when it comes to mine, like, I think Ronda Rousey. You know, she's one of my favorites to begin with. She was always entertaining to watch, and you know, she's done so much outside of the ring as well. You know, when it comes to like television and you know, like the like her brand deals and stuff like that. Like, she's done a lot beyond the UFC, and you know, like, I want more. I'm happy to see that, you know, combat sports in general is becoming more acceptable among women, and you know, because I have 2 daughters, I want more women to be involved. So I love watching the women fight, and you know, to hear about new up and coming women who are training, because I want my girls to have something or someone, you know, to look up to. And yeah, I don't know, like, I hope, God, it's gonna break my heart if they don't want to do it, but you know, it is what it is. Hopefully they'll find something else then that they're really passionate about. But God help their boyfriends, because they're coming to the match with me.
Submission only.
Yeah.
Yes, Paddy's Gym, I've heard, is very, very good.
I love that place. Like I said, it's right around. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. It's right around the corner of my house, and
you go there yourself?
Yeah, I do the open mats there every now and then.
Is it out Sunday to do?
Sundays, yeah. It's a great spot, lovely gym. I really like their mats. They just got new mats upstairs.
Yeah.
Real good.
Yeah. No, that's a good gym. And then obviously like you said, in regards to women to look up to, you've got Shauna there.
Yeah.
So she'd be going in seeing Shauna there. And then Joe, what's really relentless, Danny McCormick's gym.
Oh yes, I don't even know why Danny McCormick. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't say that, but yeah, definitely Danny.
Danny's gym is fantastic as well, and they've a lot of kids. Like if you see when they go to the IMAFs and stuff with the youth teams, like it's mostly made up of the relentless gym, and that's because they've so many good ones. And Danny's so good with the kids, and you can see how much she cares. But in relation to what you said about Rhonda, I think Rhonda gets a lot of shit because of the way her career kind of ended in the UFC. People need to remember that she did bring the UFC to another level at once. The way Conor brought it to a different stratosphere, but she was one of the
way Tough brought the Ultimate Fighter brought the UFC. That's Ronda was the next step.
Yeah.
After that, she Ultimate Fighter made it a sustainable business model, and then Ronda made it a she
made it more marketable to the mass audiences.
Yes.
Like you did have likes of Anderson Silva or GSP in that time as well, but to have a female that was like
she mainstreamed it.
Yeah. And that's what kind of annoys me about when people talk about Ronda. They always remember the end of her career. Like she did go on like she was the best, but they still have to remember like what she done for the sport, because she did do like an amazing amount. And like that, hopefully if your kids do go into like that, like I said, Paddy's gym is excellent. I have a nephew, and when he comes up, like he's like, is that you? Why are you on TV? Because I'd be watching before we have to release them. Ron watches them, I watch them, just to make sure everything. He's like, why are you on TV? And then I was like, and then like showing me at shows or whatever. So like he's like, come on, let's like I want to rest. So I've taught him, like he'll jump on, he'll take my neck, and I said, what you do next? And he's like, get the hooks in, and he'll put his legs around me and we'll watch the ground. So cool. I was actually thinking of bringing him to Paddy's gym just to see if he like. If he didn't like it, he didn't like it. But where he lives, there isn't a huge amount of kids around that area, and I think it'd be good. And like that, if he wants to get into it, if he doesn't like it, he doesn't like it. But I'll bring him up to Paddy's gym just to see what it's like, because I think that's the closest gym that would have like kids classes on that might suit my schedule, you know, that sort of way. So that's something that I'll touch base with Houlihan Martial Arts, and obviously my sister, because I can't just go taking him and bringing him to these things without her permission. But she said if he liked it, we could go. I just need to sort out the logistics of it all.
It's awesome. All right, look, we've gone on a lot here.
You know what's going to listen to all this? If you've made it now, when I start making t-shirts, you'd get a free t-shirt.
Maybe I'll throw a coupon code in here for Wolverine.
Yeah.
If you've made it this far.
Perfect. No, I've really enjoyed this. It was weird being on this side. Yeah. And what I find is I ramble. You ask me one question and I'm answering another question that you haven't even asked. So I apologise.
It's all good.
This could be probably cut down to about actually 10 minutes of me actually talking sense.
Like, no, it's just a hang. You know, I'm here to talk about bullshit about combat sports in general here. So
it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I'm super happy that you came on. So everyone, check out Fansview. It's at Fansview.
Yeah,
right?
at Fansview. Then it's MMA in depth, all in one. There is the logo.
I'll link it below.
And there's captured on this stuff as well. They're very good. I've also got some stuff off Tony as well, which is very good. I really like the Irish MMA one. I like just the original one actually. You know, just the black with I actually really like that. Yeah. I really like that one.
This is our away jersey. I've changed it. This is the Mark one. This is the first mock-up. I changed it a little bit since.
I like that.
But yeah.
Yeah, I actually really like that one.
But yeah, check it out. I'll have all your stuff linked below.
Yeah.
Your Instagram and YouTube for the MMA in depth. Everything for me is linked below as well. Be sure to check out, and this is the part I always forget. Check out Locomotiva BJJ. Like I said, the great spot. This is a great gym, located in Milltown. Like I said, they were kind enough to pretty much be my first sponsor here. So they given me a space, free reign of the place. Like I said, I come here in gym. Edson he's a brilliant teacher, an amazing brown belt. Like I said, I'm probably close to 110 kilos. He's like mid 90s, and he throws me around.
Technique beats
He just
power.
throws me around. It's insane. The last time I was rolling with him, I was like, "How are you doing this?"
Technique.
He's like I am with my girls. Just Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, check it out. Welcome TV BJJ. Try to get down here for an open mat. They do check with them, but the first class or two is free. You like your little taster and everything. But I highly recommend them. Like I said, he's a brown belt out of SPG HQ under John Kavanaugh, and it's a great spot. Yeah, that's it. All right.
Perfect. Best of luck with all this, and best of luck with Wolverine Fight Wear.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.